How easy is it to move to Australia when you take your family into What are you kissing your teeth for? How easy is it to move to Australia when you have to take into consideration moving without your family? Well, in this video, we're going to share with you exactly what our insights are like into moving without family. And at the end, we'll also be answering your questions that you've asked to us directly on our Instagram. Did you even know that we were going to talk about this today?
No, you didn't even tell me what we were going to talk about.
Nice. What do you think was your biggest challenge emotionally from leaving family?
Emotionally?
Yeah.
Oh, God. I think taking the first grandchild away, I felt awful, really bad. They'd had, 16 months with her. You know, she's just at that age where she's, starting to communicate and she's a bit more fun, and goodbye. I just felt bad for her, but also for the family as well.
Yeah, I think it kind of extends. I know you're talking about like your dad and grandparents. It does, I think, extend wider than just them. Like,
yeah,
as a niece to my brothers and sisters, or to my brother and sister. I don't have multiple ones. I think you have to be selfish in this process as to what you want to give your own kids. If you think about it, there are kids in this world that grow up without grandparents, without extended family, and they do all right in life. So it's not to say that they won't have those people in their life. They won't have those people very, very close.
No.
But I guess unless you do live in a type of family unit whereby everyone is really, really close together anyway, if people live a few hours away, if they're not on your doorstep, then I think it's a lot easier to be able to say, with technology that we have, you can speak to these people, you can see these people, you can have holidays with these people, but how different really is it than unless you lived really, really close to them?
Yeah, I don't know. Like you said, I don't know that it's that much different.
Would they even know any different?
The kids?
Yeah.
No. So Aurora doesn't even remember coming over here. So in my eyes, she didn't really know everyone back home anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It wasn't till we went back home in this October just gone, and everyone was like, "Hi, Aurora," and she's like, "Who are you? Who are you? Like, how do you know my name?"
Yeah.
"Mummy, these people know my name." I said, "Yeah, because they all know you. They've met you." She has no recognition of that. It's all emotional, isn't it, really? I'm just thinking how often we would see close family. We'd see my parents at least once a week.
And only because they were the closest ones that we lived to.
Yeah, and my stepmum was looking after Aurora one day a week, so we always had a reason to see them. Your brother and sister, maybe your sister once a month,
she was a bit closer,
maybe, and maybe your brother, maybe every
few months.
2 or 3 months, because they lived a bit further out.
How did you cope with homesickness from family?
In all honesty, I haven't really had much of it, if any at all, actually.
And is that because of technology and still being able to speak to everyone?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Possibly.
We moved at a time when people couldn't see anyone anyway.
Yeah.
And I think everyone has now been impacted by COVID to the point where it is very normal, isn't it, to speak to people via technology, and we've become accustomed to it. Maybe that's a good thing for people thinking about, beforehand I can't because of family. Well, we lived for so long not being able to see people anyway that we had to get used to it. It's forced people to think now with that mindset, and I guess that is the mindset that you have to have, unless you're a very tactile person and you need to physically hold them.
I've surprised myself in many ways. I don't know how I've kind of kept going and how strong I've been. I think, like I said in previous videos, definitely having Aurora, and then obviously now Sierra's come along, just keeping you on your toes. I don't have time to sit down and think and feel sorry for myself and my life and what it was like back home and
I still find that I get homesick at weird times for people. Like, I don't often get homesick for things, but I will still think to myself, I used to do that with my mates, I used to do that with my family, I used to do that. Traditional kind of things.
Yeah, family gatherings, special occasions, when you see stuff on Facebook and all this, or the family send you pictures of a gathering that they've had, and obviously there's a few people missing and that was us, and that can be quite hard.
But then we share things here that they
about
can't
what we do,
be part of.
Exactly.
And they, I guess, we still get just as many comments from people saying, oh, I wish we were there with you doing that, because you're always going to feel like you're going to miss out on something that you didn't have. But we can't have everything.
No.
How has distance from family and friends impacted on our relationships with them?
Well, I'll go easy. I don't think it's made any of them necessarily better.
No.
Like, it's not easy having to communicate predominantly over technology. I think it has meant that when people have come to see us, which is, not gonna lie, it's mainly our parents, you find that you spend more quality time with them. You don't ever kind of feel, oh, I'm just wasting the time. Sometimes, I guess, for people that are living wherever they're living, and parents or friends, family, they live very, very close, sometimes you can feel begrudged to kind of meet up with them. But when they're here, it even forces us to do some things that we don't normally do because we have people here.
Yeah, it gets us out when we want to show them our life and what's around us. And
there are also friends that we don't talk to as much anymore. You just fall out of contact. But I guess to say, is that purely because of moving away? Partially. But you've got to think about people in our lives that we've just naturally fallen out of contact with anyway. Fall out of contact with people even when we lived in the UK. The irony is sometimes that's because of geographical distance, like they move out of the area that you live in, let alone leaving the country.
Or they found different partners and they've moved away, or they've had kids and now they're too busy and work's got in the way, and life is busy, especially with kids. For us being over here, I mean, for your parents it's just a 2-hour difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
In time, as where mine it's the opposite. It's
or
night
10
and day. Like, it can be tricky. But if anything, I think I speak to my parents more being here. But I don't know why. I
find it easier speaking to my parents here because of the time difference.
Yeah, it's easier for you than
I guess I was never really good at organising those specific times to call.
And we want to keep the consistency for the girls, making sure that they know who everybody is. And we have pictures around the house. I've done a book of, different people, and Aurora knows who all these different people are. And she even still says to me when we came back from England, oh, is that Hannah from England? Or is that Auntie Salad in England?
I love your impression of Aurora.
Why? Because that's what she does.
The change in your voice.
Oh, the change in my voice. Oh, it's nice that she remembers people, now.
I think if she didn't remember people, then that's when you'd know that it was a problem.
Yeah.
How do we handle
major life events for people, friends, family, that we're not going to be part of because we live here? How do you feel about it? I mean, we've missed weddings, haven't we?
Yeah, so I'm just trying to, so one of my really good friends, I missed her wedding.
Yeah, she wanted you to
She
be a
wanted me
bridesmaid?
to be, and that was so hard. I felt terrible. So what can you do really? I just sent a card and spoke to her on the day of her wedding in the morning, and she sent me videos of the whole day, and even like her service book, she gave me that, for me to keep and that kind of stuff. And then there was the funeral. I've missed one on my side of the family. You've missed one on your side of the family. That was hard because you want to be there to support everybody else and show that you care, that you want to be there, but you can't really be there.
It's tricky because
it is.
You have to, I don't get happy, but you have to come to terms with the feeling of being useless, that there's nothing that you can do about those kind of, there's nothing really that you can do when someone dies. Like, what are you going to do? Bring them back to life? But you have to get comfortable with that fact. And you also have to get comfortable thinking about what you said about you want to show that you care. Like, obviously you do care when those things happen, but get comfortable with not caring about someone else's opinion. People are going to think whatever they're going to think. And as long as you know that you care about these big life events that happen, sure, sometimes you can go. If timings are good, it's not really great for me because I'm a teacher, so anything that happens in term time I'm pretty much never going to be able to do anyway. But as long as you know that you care about those things, it shouldn't really matter what other people think. And just, I guess, hope, fingers crossed, that the people on the other side that is also happening to, that they know that you care. If they really are, loving friends and family anyway, then they will know.
But that's where we're quite different. That's a weakness, should I say, that I have, is I do wear my heart on my sleeve, and I do take things to heart, and I do care about what people think. about me and us and everything like I do. That's just me. And you're different. You can switch off. That's where I'm not as good at that. You know, so in my mind I'm like, God, they're probably thinking, God, his own niece, you know, couldn't even come to his funeral. Like in my head, that's what I'm thinking, that what other people are thinking, you know. So for me, that's a tricky one. I mean, men and women are very different when it comes to things like that. Anyway, I'm quite emotional. You're not really emotional, you know. That's just.
Unless Forrest Gump comes in. I don't know why I cry to Forrest Gump all the time. It's the only film.
Have there been any moments where you've regretted the decision to move here because of family?
Yeah, with the girls being the way they are right now, and I can't just go, take them!
Yeah.
Take them! Like, yeah, today was not a good day.
It's been a bit challenging over the last few weeks, really.
I've been really, and I know that I'm being snappy, and I don't like it. But I can't, what can I do?
Yeah.
You know, they're just full on at the moment. Sierra is just, she's very mummy at the moment. And then she keeps asking to be held and cuddled. But then when you do that, she then wants to be put down.
Yeah.
She then wants to come back up. She doesn't know what she wants at the moment. And she's also going through a very hitty stage, a smacking stage. She's throwing things, isn't she? She's just
for context,
evil at the moment.
For context, we have a 5-year-old and a not quite 2-year-old. So if you do move with young kids and you rely on friends and family to be able to provide some kind of respite from looking after them, if you move here, you're not going to have any of that kind of support. Public holidays, when they can't go to childcare, you're like, maybe I don't like public holidays so much. And I get that. I completely get that. It's nice when we do have family to visit that you feel, I've got someone else that can look after them a little bit.
Like your mum and dad just have been here recently, and they looked after the girls, didn't they, for an afternoon and evening, and that allowed us to go for dinner and then into the city, and we watched a musical, and that was really lovely. But in my head, I know that's only for a short period of time, and we've got to come home and deal with it. So I don't switch off really.
No.
And then, you know, we talk about holidays and stuff and going camping. I'm sorry, but it is not relaxing.
No, not at this age.
It's not, because they just need entertainment all the time. You know, we're still doing the same old what we would normally do. You know, it's just you're in a little camper van and not your kitchen or your house or whatever. For me, that is hard, that I can't just, you know, phone up your sister, your brother, my sister, my brother, my parents, and be like, hey,
would you be able to help out?
Yeah, or have them for the night. I just need time. Because it's think of, I'll just go to bed and I have just an early night and a good sleep. I've still got to deal with it in the morning.
I don't think this would be so much of a thing, like thinking about Aurora being 5. If your kids are older, this isn't so much of a thing. If your kids are our age, it's just another part of being in the trenches, I guess. If you're thinking about having kids, then I mean, don't not have them by any means. Like, there's still a joy, but but it's just something to take into consideration. Kind of what systems, what friends do you have here? What things have you set up to be able to kind of accommodate it? I just don't feel like sometimes you want to dump kids onto newer friends that you've got in Australia.
No, we don't want to do that.
But as they get older and they have sleepovers and that kind of thing, of course.
We've got all that to come.
Yeah, we've got all that to come.
And Aurora's already asking for sleepovers and can this person come over? But she wants it done like with the click of a finger right now.
Yeah.
She doesn't understand, you know.
Just another joy being 5, isn't it?
Yeah, and now she's started school, she's getting quite confident, isn't she? She's been a little bit, not rude, but a bit back chatty. Yeah. Just
the only one I don't get back chat off is the dog. I do get back chat off him. He growls at me when he doesn't get his way.
Yeah, and howls. And she's I notice she's becoming very lazy as well all of a sudden. Like she just can't be bothered to do anything and she just wants you to do everything. I don't know if it's
just a kid thing, man.
Yeah, but is it a jealousy thing because of Sierra and
what's it
she
got to do with family moving abroad?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just jabbering on, but
how do we manage the finances of having to try and see people as much as possible? That's really difficult, I think, because when you move here, everything is such a financial burden. Like, it's not cheap moving to the other side of the world. You have to restart your whole life again. And I guess unless you're the type of person that really needs that family bit, and you factor that into your savings and things like that, it's tricky because we, you know, for at least a year, no one could come into Australia anyway. So I guess I wasn't that disciplined with saving.
We were prepared, weren't we?
I mean,
So,
we had savings,
Yeah.
and we've got more savings in Australia than we had in the UK. Like, there is that pot of money if we needed to go and see people, but it's kind of more of an, I think, an emergency.
Yep.
Because that money could still be spent on other things that we would need for our life here. And everything's got so expensive now. You know, flights aren't as cheap as they were. Going to places, hotels, accommodation isn't as cheap as it used to be. And you do sit there and you think to yourself, I could go back to the UK and see people, or I could renovate my kitchen. I know which one I chose because it was that expensive. It's not a financially carefree thing to be able to do, unless, I guess, if you were just yourself. But we're not, we're a family of four.
Yeah, like I would feel so bad if I went back home on my own. I would feel like I'd at least have to take a child.
Why?
You know, I don't know. Would people just want to see me? I don't think so.
Well, if
They'd
it's an
wanna
emergency
see
thing, I
everyone.
guess,
Well, if it was a real emergency, then
Yeah.
I'd probably be better off going home on my own, or you going home on your own.
Well, you have to take them pesky kids.
Eh?
You have to take them pesky kids with you on a 27-hour flight or whatever it is.
I'm glad I did it when I did, because I couldn't do it now. Yes. Yeah, it's hard. It's because when we were in England, we were very lucky and we had quite a lot of holidays.
Yeah.
You know, we would have 2 or 3 a year, maybe.
But they were cheaper.
A couple of city breaks and then like a nice 2-weeker or something, or we'd go to the Philippines or what have you. But we don't have to then pay more money to go and see friends and family. As we're here, we still need our holiday that we haven't actually had since we moved. Like, yes, we go camping. It's not a holiday for me. It's not. So we have that to pay for, but then we also want to go and see friends and family, but that's not a holiday.
No.
So we've now got two ways to split now, rather than just one and an extra 2 people.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hard.
I think we also understand how difficult it is for other people to come out and see us as well, in the sense that they've got all of those, you know, my brother and my sister, they've got all of their family to have to pay for if they wanted to come out here too. And I completely understand. We're both kind of sat there looking at each other going, we need to still live our lives and pay for things, but we also really want to see each other, and looking through the screen is probably about as good as we'll be able to get.
Well, that's why I suggested things like meeting for a holiday halfway, you know.
Anywhere that's just on the way.
Anywhere that's them coming to us and us going towards them. Because that way we get to see whoever we're going on the holiday with, and we get to have a holiday.
Yeah.
So in my eyes, unless you really want to go back to England because you really miss England, like there's something about England you miss.
All the things I miss, they can bring in their suitcase anyway.
Yeah, there's not anything apart from the friends and family,
Yeah.
you know. But if they want a holiday and they want to see us, well, why not all meet for a holiday? In my eyes, I think that's the best thing.
Yeah.
We could do that with your brother, we could do it with your sister.
Why have we only just realised this now?
Well, I've been saying it for ages, and that's why we thought about
Have I not listening?
meeting up with my dad and stepmum. We were looking at meeting in January. I don't know if it's going to happen yet, unfortunately, but we'll see nearer the time. But I just think that's the best way, don't you?
Makes sense.
Yeah. Unless you need to go back, or you need to do paperwork or sign in, or you miss a certain place, or otherwise just have a holiday and go to a nice hotel or a villa and be with your family, friends, and all the kids can play together.
Yeah.
You know, like
And experience something new together.
Yeah.
Make some memories. What is your go-to if you do have a bout of homesickness for people or loneliness? Mine is I give them a ring, like as simple as that sounds. It's a bit difficult sometimes when you want that immediate connection and you think, oh God, it's the middle of their night. But yeah, I do. I send them a message and I say, you know, are you around to chat today, tomorrow, on the weekend or whatever? But that's probably my go-to. Or, you know, even when...
Well, you keep that quiet because you've never told me that.
Yeah.
No, you haven't.
Oh, I'll do it on the sly.
Yeah, you must.
I do it with my sister.
Do you?
Or just every now and again. Normally it's when it's probably the weekend and it's coming into like on Instagram or WhatsApp or something, and it's my evening, their morning, or vice versa, and you just happen to be able to share 10, 20, 30 minutes, however long the conversation is, that you just kind of message on there. You get used to it. You get used to that's now the form of communication that you have. And yeah, it is nice sometimes, you know. You'll know that I have spoken to someone because I'll have a bit of gossip and I'll just share it with you, and I'll be like, oh, this happened to so-and-so. And you're like, what?
I thought you were going to tell me
No,
something
I don't
then.
have anything new.
Oh,
you got anything
what?
new?
I was excited then.
You got any new stuff?
No.
No. Well, maybe we need to chat to some people. But
Or we just need to chat.
yeah. Well, of an evening, you can message me
Okay.
and I'll be sure to
I'm
get back to you.
feeling a bit low and down. Can I have a chat?
Yeah. Oh, you don't even have to say that. Like,
Yeah.
you could say that. What's your go-to?
Yeah, I think it's just speaking to the person, talking to someone, like reaching out to someone and being like, I'm not at my best today, you know, I'm really missing this. I don't know, I just try and look at the positives and think, oh, what can we do? Well, we can talk, like, and that's as much as we can do. I don't know, maybe I just try and brush it under the carpet and deal with it, but...
I guess it's the same though, if you want any kind of relationships that you want to keep maintaining with people that are thousands of miles away, you've got to just keep talking to them. Like, different relationships can last different amounts of time before you need to kind of do some maintenance on it, but you have to. If you really want to keep speaking to the people, if you want to go and visit them, like, you'll find a way to do it. It's not impossible. I think the mindset that some people have that these relationships are somehow always going to fail, they're always going to die, I don't think that really kind of is true. Yes, some are. Probably some aren't going to get better because it is that much more difficult, but not all of them are going to go.
If our story has inspired you to move to Australia, or you're in the early stages of moving over and you don't know where to start, then you'll need to find out if you even qualify for a visa. Australia is one of those pesky countries that doesn't just let anyone in, and realistically the whole moving process was probably one of the hardest things that I've ever done in my life. To help you out and plan what you need to do next, speak to our friends True Blue Migration Services, and when you mention us, let them do the hard work of navigating the ever-changing Australian visa system and use their free visa assessment service so they can tell you exactly what you need to do to realise your dreams down under. As the only MARA registered visa company we trust, and we're not the only ones as they have hundreds of 5-star Google reviews. You can even check them out if you need help falling asleep. In fact, they're so slick that if you decide to use them, they'll pretty much do all of the hard work for you in securing your visa for you and your family to live their best life. So what are you waiting for?
Some questions. Yeah, off of the Instagram.
About what?
About this topic. Sarah1614 asks, how do you find childcare for work? My parents always looked after mine. Well, I guess ours did a little bit. And in the UK, we couldn't afford childcare, could we? It was just so expensive. And this is different depending on what visa you're on in Australia. If you're on a temporary visa, you have to pay the full price. It's really, really tricky. But we are on a permanent residency visa, so we're entitled to childcare subsidy. And that's dependent upon how much you work. So the percentage is different depending on how much you earn. And you just go to your local childcare place. Find the ones that you like the look of.
Yeah, you're not like stuck to the area where you live.
No.
Like if you find that
How far do you want to go?
you work 30 minutes away and you'd rather put your child near your work, then you can do that. You're not stuck to the suburb that you live in.
The only thing you need to do is go into, you don't even have to go into Centrelink, you just apply for your childcare subsidy, fill in all the forms online, and then it gets processed, and you just give the new childcare your number really, and it's all done to it. It's really, really quite easy to do. The only thing that costs that is quite nice actually when it comes to tax time, you pay 5% extra just in case they haven't quite calculated things correct, and they can get the money off you easily at the end of tax time. But we always seem to overestimate on ours.
We always get more, don't we?
It's like a little savings at the end of the year. Maybe we'll put it towards a holiday.
Yes, that'd be nice. One that has a kids club and takes from age 2.
Yeah, absolutely. J Stain 2022. Do the pros outweigh the cons? Has it been better?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, better than I anticipated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
The things that you think about are going to be the negatives of leaving family. They don't go away.
No.
But they aren't as bad as what you think.
No, it's just...
Even when we lived through a period where physically people couldn't see us. which was a bit weird.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, I'm sorry if I don't read through your question, but lots of these are very similar. Acton Bellu 3, who we also did a podcast with. Visa routes if parents decide they want to join you living in Australia. We haven't really looked into this that much, if we're honest. My parents live in the Philippines because for them it's just really cheap for them to afford the lifestyle that they want. It's the same reason why they moved from the UK. They wouldn't have been able to have afforded the lifestyle that they want. Australia is still expensive, so I don't think they'd want to move here. They also quite like the fact that they can just, it is easier for them to fly here. It's more difficult obviously for your parents, but they've still got jobs and stuff. Mine are retired.
Yeah.
So they're in a slightly different kind of stage of their life as well. Would they ever want to kind of live here? I don't think your stepmom would leave your stepsister, would she?
No, well, my dad wouldn't want to leave my brother.
Yeah.
So
unless
I mean,
they
I'd
came
like
here-
to look into it. I'd like to know for myself and to tell them, because you know they're getting on a bit now. They're in their, what are they, mid 60s?
Yeah.
Early to mid 60s. So yeah, I'd like to kind of know.
I've often
the
thought about
process.
it though, and I know that some people's parents, older family members, for them flying is difficult, and if they're going to want to live here, they're still got to fly here at some point anyway. But I've even thought about it from the perspective of if anyone's family members couldn't get a parental visa, and I know that those are A, expensive, and B, quite hard to get, why couldn't they just do a process whereby they come out here for extended periods of time?
Yeah, you said that.
For like a
haven't
few
you?
months at a time, or however long either party can cope with it, and like that just is the lifestyle, you know.
Yeah, 4 months.
The
4
UK is
months.
nice in the summer sometimes, and if they just wanted to escape some winter cold, like just come out here for our summer and live in the humidity. But you don't I don't think anyway you necessarily need to do the whole visa process when, especially if they're at a stage where they've retired. Mate, you can, in theory, why can't you just come whenever you want? Just hope that health facilitates and allows it. This one's from Our Enchanted Garden. I'd love to see their, you know what, Aurora would love to see their garden. She's built a fairy garden at the moment. Oh, sorry, you've built a fairy garden with Aurora.
Yeah.
Anyway, they ask, is it completely safe in Australia to take your child to a park alone in the evening or go for a walk? I mean, why would you want to go to a park in the evening anyway? Like it gets dark like that here.
Yeah.
But later in the evening and dusk times, like, I don't ever really feel unsafe here.
No,
Maybe
I
we
don't.
just live in a nice area. You know, I don't know why you'd want to put up with living in a rubbish area. We left the whole country because we didn't like where we lived. We didn't like the country that we lived in for safety perspectives. I feel much safer here.
So, yeah, I do. I do definitely as well.
I mean, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I wouldn't necessarily think to myself I could go anywhere and feel safe here.
You'll get that vibe though when you're looking to settle in a suburb. You kind of,
Yeah.
you know, we looked around and we were like, oh God, we don't
Some
like the
we
look of
preferred,
this, and
some we didn't.
you will know.
You hear of reputations from some people about some suburbs, but yeah, even in those, to be honest, I don't feel as unsafe as we would do in England.
No. But like you said, we don't really walk around of a night time. Do you know? We don't really.
Mozzies.
Mozzies, you know, you might walk the dog for a little bit, but I wouldn't take the kids out in the pitch black unless there was a reason for it, really. So, yeah, we can't really say much on that, but like you said, it goes dark so quick here. You need to be home by, what, 6?
Yeah.
Otherwise it will start getting dark. So, but yeah, definitely safer here.
This is a good one. Kirsty James Home. How do you deal with negativity from family towards your news of moving? I guess we didn't have too much negativity, but I did sense it from your dad in particular as it got closer.
Yeah.
When we told him,
Yeah.
like, we're definitely going to move, and then as we got kind of closer to it,
Yeah.
there was that sentiment that he didn't want us to go for obvious reasons. How do we deal with it? I mean, communication is always the key one, in the sense of being open and honest and upfront about why you want to move. And I think there is nothing really that you can do.
No.
Like, you have to be firm in your decision about why you want to come here. But they will notice and they will realise why you have moved when they come here.
visit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that really helped Dad, didn't it?
And he'd never been to Australia.
No.
Like, he didn't understand.
No.
We
But
had
in
been.
his eyes, his little girl was being taken to another country, and you've got to understand
Never
that.
to return.
Like, so he had to build your trust.
Yeah.
Trust that you were going to look after me, be there for me, and, you know, through the thick and thin and up and down and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's quite a big thing. Like, it'd be the same if it was our kids. you know, if Aurora suddenly, you know, oh, I'm going to go live back in England,
Go on,
you know,
mate.
well, I know, but that you're different, aren't you? You know, I would be like, oh gosh.
Well,
you
actually,
know.
no. If she said that, I'd be like, why, mate? Why do you want to go back there?
Yeah, I think Dad was really the only one that struggled in the beginning. Yeah, I think he didn't think it was going to really happen. It was all talk, talk, talk.
Yeah.
And I thought the same. I didn't think it was going to happen either. In his eyes, deep down, I think he was hoping that visa wouldn't be granted.
Or that Australia would have just shut its borders completely.
Yeah. But yeah, now they've been here, he feels a lot better.
Yeah.
And he said that. He said, it's lovely where you live. Like, I completely understand now that I've been there. So that's nice. That's reassuring for him.
Yeah. But I guess for people that are having to go through that negativity from family,
Yeah.
I don't think there is anything you can do apart from asking. I didn't ever really feel like I had to ask your dad why.
Yeah.
Because I understood why he felt like that anyway.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, you know, people that have never been to the places that you've been, they can't see things through your eyes.
No.
If you don't understand why people have got that negativity, then you do have to front them and ask them about it.
Yeah. But we didn't really, apart from, we didn't really get much.
Most of what we had was quite positive.
Yeah.
We've got a few questions like that one. Lots of questions about video calls, so I hope they've kind of been answered in what we've already talked about. Layla Williams, do you speak to family more or less since moving to Oz? We've already said that.
I think
it
more.
depends. It depends. Some more, some less.
Yeah, it depends
The
on
ones you
family
want to speak
members.
to.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough. Mrs. Smith Beckingham. Wow, that really posh. The reality of how often you see each other is once a year achievable. Yeah. I mean, I'd probably say that we say it's achievable, but we haven't. For you and your dad, it's kind of just over a year, I think. Maybe 12 to 18 months.
Yeah.
But that's mainly because of me and my pesky term timetable kind of things. The difficulty is fitting it into when people have leave to be able to do these types of things. Because whether you're going there or they're coming here, you're going to want to spend a few weeks in doing so. And for me, only having 2 weeks off in between the terms, it can be done. Like, we've known people that have done it, but you're kind of waiting for bigger times, really. I think that's the major stumbling point. Cost-wise, I don't think that's a problem. And actually, if you went and said between every 12 and 18 months, and this is what we kind of thought, and it kind of is happening now, that people would come and visit you on that much of a rota that it wouldn't be too long that you'd spend and see people. Like, you went back to the UK just before Christmas. My parents are here now, so you don't feel like you're seeing people, you're waiting to see people extended periods of time.
Time flies, doesn't it? I can't keep up
We're
with
looking at
it.
going and seeing your parents at the end of the year, so you know.
And that'll be here before we know it. We're already in May.
Yeah.
You know, like, time is going
Definitely
fast.
achievable.
Yeah.
Here's a tricky one from G'day, it's Steve. When you talk to them via video call and they say, come back, what do you do?
I've not had it, really.
If your dad called you and said he needs you to come back,
Well, I'd go back.
would you go back for good?
But yeah, you can't. That's a hard one because it depends on the circumstance, doesn't it? Come back because I miss you, or come back because my health isn't good.
Yeah.
And I need you to help care or whatever. Like, they're completely different. I don't mind coming back and seeing you because you're struggling, because you're missing me.
Yeah.
But I couldn't stay.
Well, we live here now.
Yeah, it's tricky, that one.
Yeah. I guess you'd never really. The short-term comeback can easily be facilitated.
Yeah.
But I guess you wouldn't really ever know
Unless you did it.
unless it happened.
Yeah.
Like, in the same way as I'd been thinking about moving to Australia for like 10 years. What is it that finally made me want to get a visa? It was the fact that the circumstances at that exact time was like, I'm doing it. I've had enough. It's happening now. So to say, I'd go back if someone asked me to come back, well, it really depends on the exact circumstances, the reasons, what it is that you've got here. You just kind of have to, and even then I don't think it would be an easy decision to do.
No.
Good question, but a tricky one to answer.
Yeah.
This one's from Rianne Eveline. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. How to avoid feeling like you're comparing both countries or coming across bragging. Don't care, mate, Australia's better. I don't know, it's tricky. That, again, I think that's a context thing about who it is that you're kind of talking to. It's the same way as, like, why would you brag in front of some people about anything anyway? Like, sometimes the brags are going to work, sometimes they're not.
Yeah, you feel bad if you brag.
Because we're very fortunate about being able to get here. Like,
you know, like I felt like when I went back and I was like, oh God, it's litter. It's just not like this in Australia. And my parents would be like, yeah, it's like this everywhere. And I said, God, look at these roads. They're so small and tiny and narrow.
Full of potholes.
Yeah. Oh, in Australia, you don't have that. You know, so I do compare quite a lot, and sometimes I don't realise that I do it.
This is from Frau Becker, who we've also done a podcast with. Did you talk with them beforehand about hard or dark stuff like aging parents, funeral plans, etc.? No, because we're cowards and we shied away from the difficult conversations. It's not the right thing to do. But then I guess, I don't know.
I didn't really look at that kind of stuff. In my head, I was like, we're young, they're young.
Yeah.
Everyone's quite young. Like, I don't know.
We'll deal with it when it happens to you.
Yeah, I didn't
And then
really...
coming from my dad's perspective, who for as long as I've ever known him has always said, when I die, just put me in a cardboard box and burn me. So that's the kind of sentiment I have from my father about those types of things. Yeah, no, we're cowards. We just didn't ever really talk about it.
No.
We'll have to cross that bridge when it comes to it. Sometimes that is the best way to go about things. The less you know, the better. So I hope that was helpful for understanding what it's like having to move to the other side of the world without family. And it's not an easy thing to kind of deal with. There is no right, there is no wrong. You just kind of got to do what's the best for you. And I guess you can talk about plans, but you'll never really know.
Until you do it. You just don't know anything. You don't know how your kids are going to go, how they're going to turn out, how many kids you're going to have, if you even have any kids. Are you going to make friends? Are you not going to? Like, it's, you have to just do it. Bite the bullet and do it, and you can always go back. And that's what I've always told myself. If it's not for me or it's not working, then we'll have to have that conversation and we might have to return. Ross doesn't ever want to hear that.
That would be a safe.
Divorce. I'm joking.
Don't do the hand thing, mate.
I'm joking.
Well, on that note, we'll see you in a new video. But if you want some more help with what it's like to move to Australia, we do these reasonably often. And there's one now covering my wife's head because she did the divorce sign. See you next time.
Bye.